You know that feeling when someone says, I love you, but it starts to feel like a cage? Yeah, that was my marriage. My name is Laura. I am 32 years old. I live in a small apartment now. Just me and my cat, Miso. But 3 years ago, I lived in a big house with a beautiful garden. I had a husband named Mark. And everyone said we were the perfect couple. You know the type. Nice photos on social media. Holding hands at the supermarket. Laughing at family dinners. But perfect is a lie. Perfect is just the quiet before the storm. I met Mark at a coffee shop. I was buying my usual, a caramel latte, extra whipped cream. He was behind me in line. He said, if you drink that every day, you'll fly to the moon. I laughed. He had a nice smile. Easy. Warm. He asked for my number. I gave it to him. Simple, right? That's how it starts. Always simple. The first 3 months were like a romantic movie. He sent me flowers at work. He called me every night before bed. He said things like, I can't breathe without you. At first, I thought, wow, this is love. Real love. He cares so much. He wants to know where I am. He wants to know I'm safe. That's sweet, right? But here's the thing about sweet. Sometimes, sweet is just salt in disguise. The first red flag. It was a Tuesday. I was going to dinner with my friend Emma. We had planned it for 2 weeks. I told Mark on Sunday. He said, okay, have fun. But on Tuesday at 6 p.m., he called me. Mark, where are you? Laura, I'm just leaving work. I'm meeting Emma, remember? Mark, Emma? The one who is single? The one who goes to bars. Laura, we're going to a restaurant, Mark. Not a bar. Mark, which restaurant? Laura, the little Italian place on 5th Street. Mark, send me the address. Laura, why? Mark, so I know where you are. In case something happens. I sent him the address. I thought, okay, he's just worried. He loves me. But then at 8 p.m., he showed up. He walked into the restaurant, pulled a chair to our table, and sat down. He didn't ask. He just sat. Emma looked at me. I looked at my pasta. Nobody said anything for a full minute. Mark said, I missed you. So I came. Emma left early that night. She texted me later. She said, Laura, that was strange. I told her, no, he's just romantic. But inside, my stomach felt heavy, like I had eaten a rock. The wedding. We got married after 1 year. The wedding was beautiful. White flowers. A blue sky. My dad cried. Mark's mom cried. Everyone hugged. But that night, after the party, Mark took my phone. He said, let's put our fingerprints on each other's phones. No secrets, right? I laughed. I thought he was joking. He was not joking. He said, Laura, you're mine now. Forever. And I need to protect you. I said, protect me from what? He said, from the world. People are bad. They will try to take you away. I still remember the way he said, take you away. Like I was a toy. Like I was a cookie on a plate. Not a person. But I said nothing. I smiled. Because that's what we do, right? We smile. We keep the peace. We tell ourselves, it's not that bad. The first year of marriage. It started small. Mark didn't like my clothes. He said, that dress is too short. He said, those jeans are too tight. He said, why do you need makeup? You are beautiful without it. At first, it sounded like compliments. But soon, it became rules. He bought me new clothes. Long skirts. Big sweaters. He said, now you look like a wife. I stopped wearing my favorite red dress. I put it in the back of the closet. Sometimes, I opened the closet just to look at it. But I never wore it, because wearing it meant a fight. And fights with Mark were not normal fights. A normal fight is, you shout, you cry, you sleep, you say sorry, you eat pizza together. A fight with Mark was, he would go silent. He would not talk for hours. He would sit on the couch and stare at the wall. And then he would say, you don't love me. If you loved me, you would listen. And I would feel guilty. So guilty. Like I had broken something expensive. So I would say sorry. Even when I did nothing wrong. The tracking. After 6 months of marriage, Mark put a tracking app on my phone. He said, for safety. He said, what if you get lost? I said, Mark, I'm 30 years old. I have GPS. He said, my GPS is better. I laughed again, but this time, the laugh was fake. It was the laugh of a woman who is slowly disappearing. He started calling me every hour. Where are you? Who are you with? Why are you at the supermarket for 40 minutes? One time, I was in the shampoo aisle for 10 minutes because I was reading the ingredients. He called me and said, why are you not moving? I felt like a mouse in a cage. A mouse with a nice house and a nice husband and a nice tracking app. The isolation. Then came the friends. Mark didn't like Emma. He said, she is a bad influence. She is single. She wants you to be single too. I said, that's not true. She's my friend since high school. Mark said, then why does she never bring her boyfriend? Oh, she doesn't have one. Exactly. I stopped calling Emma. She called me. I didn't pick up. She texted me. I texted back, busy. My mom called every Sunday. Mark sat next to me during the call. He listened. After the call, he said, your mom asked too many questions. She doesn't trust me. I said, she's just a mom. He said, no, she wants to control you. Like me. But I am your husband, not her. Slowly, I stopped calling my mom too. I told her I was fine. I told her work was busy. I told her I loved her. And then I hung up and cried in the bathroom. Because that's where I cried. The bathroom. With the water running so Mark couldn't hear. The breaking point. It happened on a Saturday. I was at the grocery store. I forgot my phone at home. I didn't do it on purpose. I just forgot. I was gone for 45 minutes. When I came back, Mark was standing at the door. His face was red. His hands were shaking. He said, where were you? I said, grocery store. I told you. He said, you didn't take your phone. I said, I forgot. He said, you never forget. You're lying. I said, Mark, I bought eggs. Look. I showed him the eggs. He took the eggs from my hand and threw them on the floor. Yellow yolk everywhere. On the floor. On my shoes. On my dress. And then he said, don't ever do that again. You are my wife. I need to know where you are. Every second. That night, I cleaned the eggs. I washed my shoes. I went to bed. Mark slept next to me like nothing happened. He even held my hand. But I didn't sleep. I looked at the ceiling. And I thought, this is not love. This is a cage. The secret plan. I didn't leave the next day. Or the next week. Leaving is not like in the movies. You don't just pack a bag and run into the rain. Leaving is slow. Scary. Quiet. I started small. I took $20 from the grocery money every week and hid it in a book. A book Mark never read. Gardening for Beginners. He hated gardening. I called Emma. But I called her from a payphone. Yes, they still exist. There is one outside the old pharmacy. I put coins in and I whispered, Emma, I need help. She said, Laura, where have you been? It's been 6 months. I started crying. Right there on the street with the phone in my hand. I told her everything. The tracking. The clothes. The eggs. Emma said, I'm coming to get you. Saturday, 2 p.m. Be ready. I said, he never leaves the house on Saturday. Emma said, then make him leave. So I made a plan. On Saturday morning, I told Mark, your mom called. She needs help with her TV. It's not working. Mark called his mom. His mom said, yes, my TV is broken. I had called her earlier. I told her I would buy her a new TV if she just asked Mark to come fix it. She said yes. She didn't know why, but she said yes. Mark left at 1 p.m. He kissed my forehead. He said, wait for me. I said, always. And then I packed. I didn't take much. My red dress. Some money. My passport. A photo of my mom. And Miso, my cat. I left everything else. The big house. The nice furniture. The wedding album. I left it all. Emma picked me up at 2:05 p.m. I got in her car. My hands were shaking. Emma said, are you okay? I said, I will be. We drove for 3 hours to a small town. Emma's cousin had an empty apartment above a bakery. It smelled like bread all day. It was small. The walls were yellow. The shower was cold. But it was mine. No tracking app. No phone calls every hour. No eggs on the floor. The first night, I sat on the floor of that apartment. Miso walked around, sniffing everything. I didn't cry. I just sat. I thought about Mark. I thought about his smile. The good days. The way he made coffee for me every morning. The way he said, I love you 100 times a day. But then I remembered the tracking. The control. The fear. Love is not fear. Love is not a cage. Love is not checking your phone to see if your husband is watching your location. Love is freedom. Love is trust. Love is saying, I'll be back, and your partner says, okay, have fun. I didn't know that before, but I was learning. The first month alone. Living alone after living with Mark was like learning to breathe again. At first, it hurt. My chest felt tight. I would wake up at 3 a.m. and reach for him, but he wasn't there. And then I would remember. And I would feel two things at the same time, sadness and relief. Like when you take off tight shoes. It hurts a little, but oh, it feels so good. I didn't have a phone for the first week. I bought a cheap one, a simple one. No internet, no tracking apps, just calls and texts. Emma said, you're like a time traveler from 2005. I said, good. 2005 didn't have location tracking. I found a job at a small bookstore. The owner was an old man named George. He had white hair and glasses that were always falling down his nose. He said, you look like you need to be around books. I said, I need to be around something quiet. He laughed. He hired me that day. Every day, I would open the bookstore at 9 a.m. I would arrange the books. I would help customers find love stories, mystery stories, sad stories. And I would think about my own story. My story with Mark. The phone calls. Mark started calling after 2 weeks. Not my new phone. My old phone. The one I left behind. He called Emma. He called my mom. He called everyone he knew. He said, Laura is sick. She needs medicine. She is confused. Please tell me where she is. My mom called me. She was crying. She said, Laura, what is happening? Mark says you are in danger. I said, Mom, I am not in danger. I left because he was controlling me. My mom said, but he loves you. He calls me every day. He cries. I said, Mom, love doesn't track your phone. Love doesn't throw eggs on the floor. My mom was quiet for a long time. Then she said, your father never tracked me. And I think in that moment, she understood. Not everything, but something. The guilt. The hardest part was not Mark. The hardest part was me. I felt guilty. Can you believe that? I left a man who controlled me, and I felt guilty. I would sit in the bookstore and think, maybe I overreacted. Maybe he just loved me too much. Maybe I was the problem. One day, George, the bookstore owner, saw me crying behind the poetry section. He sat next to me on the floor. He didn't say anything for a while. Then he said, you know, Laura, my wife used to control me too. She would check my pockets every night. She would ask where I went every hour. I loved her, but I also lost myself. I stayed for 20 years. Don't be like me. I looked at him. What happened? I asked. He said, she passed away. And I was free, but I was also empty, because I spent 20 years being a ghost in my own life. You left early. That's brave. Not guilty. I cried more. But this time, the crying felt different. It felt like rain after a long dry season. It felt like cleaning. Mark shows up. It happened on a rainy Tuesday. I was closing the bookstore. It was 7 p.m. I was putting the chairs on the tables. And then I saw him. Through the glass door. Mark. Standing in the rain. No umbrella. Just standing there, looking at me. My heart stopped. Then it started beating very fast. Like a drum. Like a warning. He knocked on the door. Softly. Like a sad puppy. I didn't open it. He knocked again. I shook my head. He put his hand on the glass. He said, Laura, please. Just 5 minutes. I opened the door. I don't know why. Maybe because I wanted to see if he had changed. Maybe because a small part of me still remembered the man who bought me flowers. I opened the door. He walked in. He He was wet. His hair was messy. His eyes were red. He looked smaller than I remembered. In my memory, he was big and scary. But now he just looked tired. He said, "I'm sorry." I said nothing. He said, "I know I made mistakes. I was too much. I was scared of losing you. That's why I did those things." I said, "You threw eggs at me, Mark." He said, "I know. I am not perfect. But I am better now. I went to therapy. I am taking medicine." I changed. I looked at him. I wanted to believe him. But I also remembered the tracking app. The calls every hour. The way he made me stop seeing my friends. The way I cried in the bathroom with the water running. I said, "Mark, I need time." He said, "I will wait. I will always wait for you. You are my wife." And then he left. Just like that. He walked back into the rain. I locked the door. I sat on the floor of the bookstore. George was gone. I was alone. And I thought, what if he really changed? What if I am throwing away a second chance? The therapy. I started seeing a therapist. Her name was Dr. Patricia. She was a small woman with big earrings and a soft voice. She said, "Laura, tell me about the good days." I told her about the coffee Mark made, the flowers, the "I love US." Then she said, "Now tell me about the bad days." I told her about the tracking, the isolation, the eggs, the bathroom crying. She said, "Laura, love is not a test you have to pass. You don't have to earn love by giving away your freedom." That sentence stayed with me. You don't have to earn love by giving away your freedom. I wrote it on a piece of paper and put it on my fridge, next to a magnet of a cat riding a unicorn. Because humor helps. Humor keeps you from drowning. The second visit. Mark came again after 2 weeks. This time, he brought flowers. Red roses. My favorite. He stood outside the bookstore again. But this time, he didn't knock. He just waited. I saw him from the window. He looked at me. I looked at him. It felt like a standoff. Like two cowboys in an old movie. Finally, I went outside. I said, "Mark, you cannot keep coming here." He said, "I just want to talk. Please. One dinner. As friends." I laughed. "Friends? Mark, you were my husband. You can't just become my friend." He said, "Then let me be your husband again. I will do better. I promise." I took a deep breath. I remembered Dr. Patricia's words. I said, "Mark, I need you to understand something. When you tracked my phone, I felt like a prisoner. When you told me what to wear, I felt like a doll. When you isolated me from my friends, I felt like I was disappearing. I don't want to disappear again." Mark's face changed. The softness went away. For just 1 second, I saw the old Mark. The one who threw eggs. The one who controlled. But then it was gone. He smiled. A sad smile. He said, "Okay, Laura. I understand." He gave me the flowers. I took them. And then he walked away. I stood there holding the roses. They were beautiful. But beauty is not enough. You can't build a marriage on beauty alone. You need trust. You need respect. You need space to be yourself. The healing. Healing is not a straight line. It's like a squiggly line. Some days I felt strong. I would wake up, make coffee, go to the bookstore, and feel happy. Other days, I would cry in the shower for no reason. Just cry. And then I would eat ice cream for dinner. Because that's healing. It's messy. It's not Instagram perfect. I started calling my mom every day. Not every Sunday. Every day. She said, "I miss you." I said, "I miss you too." She said, "Mark called again. He asked for your address." I said, "Don't give it to him." She said, "I didn't. I told him you are on a mountain in Tibet." I laughed. My mom never made jokes before. She was learning to be funny. Or maybe she was learning to be free too. Emma came to visit every weekend. We would eat pizza and watch bad movies. She would say, "Remember when Mark showed up at the Italian restaurant?" I would say, "How can I forget? He ate my garlic bread." We would laugh. And laughing felt good. Laughing felt like medicine. The dream. I had a dream one night. I was in the big house again. The one with the garden. Mark was there. He was making coffee. He smiled at me. And then he handed me a phone. My old phone. The one with the tracking app. He said, "Put it back on. So I know you're safe." In the dream, I took the phone. I looked at it. And then I threw it out the window. The window broke. Glass everywhere. Mark screamed. But I didn't care. I walked out the front door. And the sun was shining. And I was wearing my red dress. I woke up smiling. That's when I knew. I knew I was going to be okay. The divorce. I filed for divorce after 6 months. It was not easy. Mark did not want to sign. He said, "But I love you." I said, "Love is not enough, Mark. Love without respect is just obsession." The lawyer was a woman named Carla. She had short hair and a loud voice. She said, "Laura, you are doing the right thing. I see women like you every day. They stay because they feel guilty. They stay because they think love means suffering. But love does not mean suffering. Love means growing together, not shrinking together." Mark signed the papers on a Thursday. I didn't cry. I didn't celebrate. I just felt quiet, like after a storm. The rain stops, the wind stops, and everything is still. That's how I felt. Still. The new life. Now I live in my small apartment above the bakery. Every morning I wake up to the smell of bread. Miso sleeps on my pillow. I go to work at the bookstore. George still wears his falling glasses. I still arrange books. But now I also write. I write my story. Not for anyone else. For me. I learned something important. Something I want you to know too. Love is not about possession. Love is not about control. Love is not about tracking phones or choosing clothes or isolating friends. Love is two people standing next to each other, facing the world, but still free to walk away. Because if you can't walk away, it's not love. It's a cage. I still think about Mark sometimes. Not with anger, with sadness. Because he really believed he loved me. But his love was broken. His love was fear dressed up as romance. And I hope he heals. I really do. But not with me. My healing is my own. The funny part. Oh, and the funny part? I still wear long skirts sometimes. Not because Mark told me to. Because I like them. And I also wear my red dress. I wore it last week to the supermarket. An old man said, "You look beautiful." I said, "Thank you." And I bought eggs. Lots of eggs. And I carried them home myself. And nobody threw them on the floor. That, my friend, is freedom. The end of the story? Not really. Because healing never really ends. It's like a garden. You have to water it every day. Some days, weeds grow. Some days, flowers bloom. But you keep going. You keep choosing yourself. You keep remembering that you are not a toy. You are not a possession. You are a person. With a red dress. And a cat. And a small apartment that smells like bread. And that is more than enough.